Hey everybody. Hopefully this will be a successful replacement for the staff meeting the other morning. The snow was bad and my drive isn't too bad, but I realized that it was going to be late for me and a lot of you live further away. And it was definitely better to get to school safe and not worry about missing meetings or anything of that nature. So I'm going to go through the slides. It is important that you watch through this whole piece, and especially the last half of it. Um, there is some training that we're required to do. And so once you watch this, if you can click the I watched it on the Google form so I can kind of just document that all the staff received the training from the special ed department. So quick agenda. So we're talking about our mission. We're going to talk about a few kind of logistics, and then we'll get to the training. Hopefully this presentation will take 7-8 minutes. That's what I'm hoping. Mission, reading, ACT, culture and climate. Culture and climate. Speaking of culture and climate, we had our first community forum the other night. About 60 people or so showed up, handful of students included. Kind of building that community piece. It was pretty successful. Even though it was a snowy Monday night, including the national championship football game. But so it was pretty good. It was pretty positive. So first item on the agenda, inauguration day. So we all remember, election day and the day after, and some of the rumors and some of the feelings in the building. So I'm not positive if inauguration day will be similar. Hopefully, with the weekend, being on a Friday and the weekend, it'll kind of come and go, but you never know. So, as far as our classrooms go, open discourse certainly okay. We don't need to see the muffled carry. Open discourse is certainly, it's okay. It's what's part of our, curriculum for a lot of us. Um, as adults, though, we should be nonpartisan. We're not, we shouldn't be speaking for favor of a particular direction. We should just be facilitating conversations. But we are here to support all students. Whether they're, whichever camp they may be in, or whether they're just trying to, do their day as normal. We're here to support all students. Um, if you hear anything about any kids needing support, obviously you're a good support system. Send them to the counselors. Hopefully it'll be a day as normal. Hopefully it'll be a normal day. We have heard some rumors of a potential walkout. I don't think there's much to that. I believe I've heard some schools in Minneapolis and St. Paul are bracing for a walkout. Um, so it's possible. We'll keep our eyes and ears peeled. If you hear anything, though, if you hear kids talking about it, please let us know in the office so we can plan accordingly. If we do happen to have a walkout, we don't stop them, we don't block them, we let them leave. Part of the conversation is do we let them back in? But we'll make that decision as that day gets closer. So we'll be in touch on that one. Skyward's the new system for absences and for payroll. It's pretty good. I've used it before. It's not bad. Obviously, any new system takes some getting used to. So when entering absence, we're still going to do a couple steps here. You need to do a Skyward and then ASOP. Skyward is your, logistics. It's your HR system. ASOP is for subs. But you still need to do ASOP because that's how we track things here in the building. So for the rest of this year, you need to enter absences in both Skyward and ASOP. And if you are out for a PD day, you still must complete that half sheet with Judy. There's some, office logistics here that we're working out as we continue with the new systems. If you've got any questions on Skyward absences, what's required, feel free to talk to Judy. This is the downfall of using screencasts. Okay, I see it. Thank you. All right, IEPs are something we talked with the special ed staff, and we also talked with uh, um, department leads. So the law is that general education staff are required to attend all IEP meetings. That is in state law. That all general ed staff who are invited um, must attend the IEP meeting. I know there's been ups and downs. I know there's been some situations where that becomes less and less common, but we are required to do that. So we talked with department leads, and kind of the agreement that we came to is that you must either attend the meeting or you must send a written response to the IEP teacher about the student. Those are both acceptable. And IEP teachers in their documentation of the meeting will record staff who either attend or submit written responses. Um, or of course, they will also record if they don't respond at all. So please be part of it. I know it
Brandon,
can
are
be a
you able?
timely thing. Um, and I know it can be sometimes outside the school day, but do your best to make sure one of those two things are done. Either you attend the meeting, or you do a response. You also, if you go to a meeting, you don't have to stay for the whole meeting. You can, come early, give your 2 cents, and then you may be excused at that point in time. So do your best with that. Again, state law, but it's also just good practice for the students. Couple of changes in clerical staffing. Amy Steffen, as you know, moving to C Wing, and Linda Milkey is retiring. Both of theirs last day is January 13th. So Amy will still be in the building, but say happy retirement to Linda when you see her before the week is out. We have hired for both positions. Mary Riley will be the new counseling secretary. Some of you may remember her as Mary Berg in the HR district office. She'll be great. And then Stephanie Espy, who is currently in the uh, phone desk, or the front office, is moving over and will be the new activities secretary. Um, switchboard is her technical, I think, but she will be the new activities secretary over and working with Chad. So therefore, with another internal hire, we are going to be posting for another front office clerical position. If you know anybody looking for a job. All right, so quick things. Kind of hanging bullet there. That's not good. As of right now, most of you know, Susan Conter has still not returned from her medical leave. So all emails about attendance should be going to Julie Knows. All attendance to that email. E-cigs have been popping up a little bit in the classroom. I mean, they've always been, a problem sometimes in bathrooms, but they've been popping up sometimes in classrooms. Some students even using them during the class period. There'll be times when there's, either a sub or a movie or somewhere where the kids think the teacher's not watching. It's not been a ton, but we've seen 3 or 4 different times where this has happened. So just be aware, be on the lookout. Kids are usually our best witnesses, but just be aware that's kind of been popping up, mostly with younger kids, but just be on the lookout. We have talked with department leads about some changes around hats and hoods. We're thinking about loosening some of the restrictions on hats and hoods next year. Talk with the department lead about it. Talk with the department lead about why we're doing it. Well, we're not doing it. We're considering it as of right now. We're kind of weighing some pros and cons. But email if you have any kind of thoughts on that. Please email administration. About your feelings on hats and hoods. I know a lot of us like the idea of it, but it's hard to enforce for many kids. All you get is negative reinforcement. Take your hat off, take your hat off, and then we're chasing them. And whether that's a necessary step, whether that's good for kids, and then whether that's really necessary for the culture and climate of our building. So just something we're considering. If you've got any thoughts or feedback on hats and hoods, just let us know. All right, so real quick, we're going to go through this. This is a training that we were supposed to go through on restrictive procedures. So I'm not going to read these things to you. You can go back and read. The slideshow along with the video is in the staff folder. But you can use restrictive procedures in an emergency situation when the student is a harm to themselves or others. So if that is something that is happening, you are allowed to physically intervene. You're not supposed to intervene when property damage is occurring, if you just want a student to move and the student's not cooperating, or if they're just being disruptive. But if they're physically harming themselves, or are a physical harm to others, you may. And I think I've talked about this before. You are not required to physically intervene if you are not comfortable with that. Seclusion, seclusion is when you keep a student alone when they're not allowed to leave. Holding, these are some terms, obviously. Physical intervention, trying to keep the student immobile, so they can't contact anybody else. I'm going fast, but again, the slideshow is in the staff folder. So only staff that's trained should be using a physical hold. Now, breaking up a fight is different than a physical hold. So, again, using your best judgment will always be okay. If you do what you think is best in the moment. So these are not considered physical holds. Feels relatively straightforward. these are things you're not allowed to do. Corporal punishment, um, making them stay in a specific bodily posture. Not sure what that would be, but or denying bathroom. That's a good, denying them to use the bathroom, not, giving them lunch or food or water. More things that are not allowed. Not, preventing them from being able to breathe fully. I think it's pretty clear, pretty should be common sense for most of us. Uh, okay. So these are some examples of holds you're not allowed to use. Most of it's against the throat or breathing. That's really what that is. These different pictures are showing that it's really impairing the student's ability to breathe comfortably. So if you have to use a restrictive procedure, there are forms that need to be completed. So meet with the administrator if that ever occurs. So we have forms that we need to fill out, including a debriefing form, which is the situation, and then what who put a hold on, and who was all there, who were witnesses, things of that nature. And then we'll keep the forms, and then we'll send copies to special ed. So if a student has IEP, and they're restricted twice in 30 days, then there needs to be some meetings held, obviously, because obviously the behaviors are ramping up. Obviously, we work with students and we work with staff to try to create a community of working through problems, and not having to rely on physical holds, and hopefully physical behaviors are being prevented, because our hope is we never have to intervene physically. So that's it. I went fast through some things, but again, there are the full slideshow that you can review is in the staff folder. I hope that was acceptable for everybody. I like seeing you guys in the mornings, but again, the drive was necessary to keep everybody safe. So that is that. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.